Hi, my name is Greg Voisen, and I'm the host of WizeNote and the podcast host of Inside Personal Growth. Now, picture this. You're 36 years old, successful businessman, seemingly having it all. Money, family, respect. But as you're sitting in a restaurant, staring at the menu, and you literally can't decide between coleslaw and potato salad, your brain has completely short-circuited. Welcome to the story of Todd Patkin's rock bottom and his incredible journey to finding true happiness. Now, Todd Patkin looked like he had golden touch. By 2000, he was running his family's auto parts business, working 12-hour days, crushing every goal. But beneath the surface, a perfect storm was brewing. First, Todd and his wife, Yadra, lost the pregnancy, a devastating blow that left them both reeling. Then, during a company meeting, Todd made a theatrical leap off of a chair onto the concrete floor, fracturing both feet. Suddenly, the man who used to exercise as his primary stress relief couldn't even walk properly. Here's what's fascinating and really terrifying about anxiety and depression. They don't care how successful you are. Todd had millions in the bank, a loving family, and a thriving business. But when your brain chemistry goes haywire, none of that really matters. By 2001, Todd was driving 6 hours each way just to go home on weekends while attending college. At age 36, he couldn't handle being away from home. The boy who'd been bullied in high school, who'd struggled with perfection his entire life, had finally hit a wall. So the breakdown, when it came, was complete. Todd described sitting with his father at a restaurant, able to make the simplest of a decision, potato salad, coleslaw. It became impossible as solving world hunger. But here's where Todd's story gets interesting and hopeful, because sometimes rock bottom becomes a solid foundation you need to rebuild your life. Todd found Dr. Michael Voisen, who told him something revolutionary. You will work again. You will be fine. After months of despair, someone finally gave him that precious commodity, hope. Now, the transformation. Now, this is where most people think the story ends. Todd gets help, takes medication, feels better. But Todd's real transformation began with a simple box of cassette tapes. His employee, Tim Quirk, handed him the Tony Robbins Personal Power Series. Todd was skeptical, and who wouldn't be? But during his commute between the auto parts stores, something clicked. Your future is not your past. That's one sentence that changed everything. For the first time, Todd realized he had a choice in how he thought and how he reacted and how he lived. Todd discovered what he calls the 5% rule. The difference between good and great isn't huge. It's just an extra 5% effort that separates the winners from everyone else. He started working 6 days a week, not out of anxiety, but out of purpose. But the real breakthrough, Todd learned to control his thoughts instead of letting them control him. He created what I called an emergency behavior plan. Instead of panicking when store managers quit or a break-in would happen, he budgeted for 3 of these crises each per year. When you expect challenges, they lose their power and their power to destroy you. So the happiness formula. So what did Todd discover about happiness? It's not what you'd expect. First, happiness is a practice, not an accident. Todd exercised regularly. He fed his mind with positive content every morning, and he surrounded himself with positive people. He literally ranked his friends on scales of 1 to 5 for positivity. Harsh, being effective, but it was very effective. Second, happiness comes from serving others. Todd now gives away millions of dollars to help in sex trafficking victims in India, supports women's leaderships program, and he speaks for free across the country. So when you stop focusing on yourself and you start finding joy, that's where happiness comes. And third, this is crucial. You must learn to love yourself first. Todd spent years treating himself worse than he'd treat his worst enemy. The day he started being kinder to himself was the day his life truly changed. So, if Todd Patkin's story proves that no matter how dark things get, transformation is possible, his breakdown became his breakthrough. His anxiety became his superpower. It made him more empathetic, more driven to help others. The man who once couldn't choose between coleslaw or potato salad now has thousands of people choose happiness over despair. And he offers his book and workbook completely free at Todd Patkin, TODDPATKIN.com. You can hit the link below because he believes everyone deserves to find their sunshine. His book is called Finding Happiness. So sometimes the very thing that breaks you is exactly what you need to become who you're meant to be. I encourage you to visit Todd's website at www.toddpatkin.com to download your free copy of Finding Happiness. This is Greg Voisen, the host of WizeNotes and Inside Personal Growth. Until next time, keep growing.